Hello everybody, welcome to ScottyDGaming. I'm Scotty D. It's Christmas time, I'm feeling festive, and I'm bringing you my top 10 games of 2018. Now if there's any games on this list that you haven't played, then I hope you've been good so that Santa brings you them for Christmas. Before we get into the true top 10 list, there's one game that didn't quite make it, but really does deserve an honourable mention, and that is the free ones. It's a short, 5-hour long, first-person platform game with little story and all gameplay. Basically, you've got to escape an island with very limited tools. You've got a grappling hook, a wingsuit, and your mad platforming skills. You'll find yourself swinging from trains, flying across ravines, and the good thing is the game has managed to introduce tactics, because once you leave the ground you can only fire your grappling hook 3 times and use your wingsuit once, so you have to plan your jumps, and that's where the puzzle solving is introduced into what is a typical first person platform game. It's really good, play it. At number 10 on the list is something that is true comedy genius. It's a game in the very light sense of the word, and I'm surprised it even made it on anybody's top 10 list, but it's so funny and ridiculous. It's Super Seducer 2 with my mate Richard De La Runa. For anybody that doesn't know, Richard classes himself as a professional pickup artist and dating guru, and the first game, which he released last year, got massive negative reviews. People hated the game, people slated Richard. There was outlets that said it was a complete misogynistic game and a travesty for women all around the world. But what I think is, they don't actually get it. They really don't. I'm confident Richard is a comedy genius along the lines of Sacha Baron Cohen when he did Ali G and Borat. I believe it's a true character that he's made up, and it's hilarious. What you'll be doing through the game is you'll be going through different scenarios where you meet up with girls, try to get them into bed or try to get their phone number, but this time round it's a lot more ridiculous than the first game. It's hilarious. You really need to play this to understand what I'm talking about. At number 9, we've got a new installment in a long-running series of games. The bald-headed assassin is back in Hitman 2. What more can I say about the Hitman series? It's been running for so long. It's one of my childhood favourite games back in the day, and now with the latest installment, it's just more of the same, and that's not a bad thing because the game already has solid mechanics that everybody knows and loves. It's a mission-based game where the maps are fairly open. You've got a number of objectives, mainly a number of targets to assassinate, and you can do that however you see fit. Whether that be simply with a bullet to the head, smothering someone, pushing someone off a ledge, or just poisoning them, the possibilities are vast and a lot of fun to plan and execute. It's basically a sandbox serial killer game. You need to play it. At number 8, I've got one of the best first-person platform puzzle games I've ever played. It's up there with the top games in its genre like Portal. It is Qube 2. At the start of the game, your character passes out in a storm of some sort, and when they wake up, they find themselves in some ancient ruins. As you explore these ruins, you find out that you can control certain cubes within the ruins with your glove. As you explore the ruins and try to uncover what's happened, you'll encounter puzzle rooms. Now each room gets increasingly more difficult as the game goes on, but the developers have done an excellent job of pacing the puzzles and implementation of new mechanics, so you never get bored of the game. You're always learning and having your eyes opened by what you can actually do within the ruins. The subtle story and narrative provides mystery all through the game, constantly keeping you thinking of what's actually happening and drawing your own conclusions, and the cherry on top is the voice acting. It's excellent. I highly recommend everybody play this game. If you like puzzle games, you'll love this. At number 7, we've got an adventure game set in a dystopian future which will get you thinking about the moral and philosophical issues surrounding AI and virtual reality. This is State of Mind. If you love Deus Ex, The Matrix, and the Black Mirror episode called the USS Callister, then this game is right up your alley. You play as Richard Nolan, a journalist who, after being involved in a car crash, wakes up in hospital confused and his wife and son missing. Through dialogue choices and puzzles, you'll slowly start to uncover the truth, but the question is, can you handle the truth? At number 6, we've got the latest installment in my favourite fighting game series of all time. It is SOULCALIBUR 6. After the absolute tragedy that was SOULCALIBUR 5, I'm glad to say we're back to the roots with SOULCALIBUR 6. The developers have learned from their mistakes. They've given us all of the best features we've loved from previous games. For example, SOULCALIBUR 2, we've got a similar story mode in this game called the Libra of Souls. We've got customization from SOULCALIBUR 3. We've got the original characters back, which SOULCALIBUR 5 removed, which everyone hated. They've just done everything right. The graphics are amazing, the combat's tight, and what would a SOULCALIBUR game be without an awesome, special, featured, unlockable character? And this time, it's none other than Geralt from The Witcher. And the thing I love about the implementation of Geralt is that he actually fits the world. They've done an excellent job to introduce him when you least expect it. This is a modern fighting game that you absolutely need in your life. At number 5, we've got a grand, epic and classic turn-based JRPG. It is Dragon Quest XI. It may look like a game for kids, but the story and cutscenes will put anything you see in Lord of the Rings or the Star Wars franchise to shame. Throughout your playtime, you're going to encounter every subject imaginable. Love, loss, romance, hate, devastation, murder, backstabbing, twists and turns. It's got everything that you'd see in a Hollywood blockbuster movie. It's probably got the best production values I've ever seen in a game. All of this combined with the classic turn-based JRPG combat makes the game a complete pleasure to play and experience. At number 4, with what I think is going to be a controversial and very unpopular opinion, a JRPG this year that is ranked higher than Dragon Quest XI. It is No Kuni 2. While Dragon Quest and No Kuni are very similar games, I think No Kuni edges out in front for me because of all of the elements that are mashed together, which keeps the game interesting for the entire playthrough. We've got the regular instant real-time combat, and then we've also got a strategy mode, and that mode allows you to choose what troops you take into battle and then you control them as you go around and take over parts of the map. Finally, we've got base building. Part of this game is building your kingdom up from scratch, so you get to choose what research you do, what spells you're going to learn, what weapons you're going to improve. It adds a lot to the game, and although me personally, I didn't spend much time in the base building, it's a good feature to have for anybody that wants to go deeper. It adds so much longevity to the game. The world is diverse and varied. It's exciting to explore and find new things, and also there's plenty of towns and cities in the game with unique identities that just ooze with culture. The cast of characters are lovable, and with the implementation of higgledies, which are these little creatures that you can take into combat with you that augment certain skills and abilities, they're the cutest things I've ever seen. To sum it up, No Kuni 2 has finally balanced all gameplay and story elements so that either one never becomes a chore. You're always kept engaged. At number 3, we've got a game which is dark, moody, horrific, and it comes with choices that will determine whether you are man or beast. It is Vampyr. You play as Jonathan Reed, a doctor who's been infected with vampirism. Now, he doesn't know who did it, but he's gonna find out. But can he control the beast within? And that's where the game allows you to choose, because with skill trees, dialogue options, and moral choices, it's all up to you whether you destroy the town or make it your own. This game excels at making the choices you make actually have an impact on the world. If you show mercy, it's normally seen as a good thing. Well, not in this game, when the person you show mercy with goes and wipes out an entire district. Oh yes, things like that will happen in Vampyr, so be very, very careful with what you wish for. The combat is fast paced and precise. It involves skill because you need to dodge and parry your way to victory. You've got a big skill tree on offer which lets you develop your vampiric powers. However, again with this game, there's always a twist. If you want to get experience for your vampire powers, you're going to have to drink blood. But is that a choice that you want to make? If it is, and you want to maximise your experience, then butter up your victims by completing side quests to improve the quality of their blood before feasting on them like a lamb to the slaughter. Never before have I played a game that makes being bad feel so right. I highly recommend you play this. and unleash the beast. At number 2, we've got an interactive dialogue-based adventure game that brings something brand new to the genre by introducing RPG elements. It is The Council. You play as the main character Louis, who's been invited to a mysterious island in search for his missing mother, with many other guests who've also been invited, all with their own individual secrets and motives. You'll have to use your skills, knowledge, manipulation and problem solving to dig deep and uncover the truth. This is the single most interesting game I've played this year. It definitely gets the brain ticking by using science, politics, religion and mythology as a basis for the puzzles and conversations you have. The feeling that you get after achieving what you want via manipulation, blackmail or winning a verbal confrontation is absolutely phenomenal. I cannot tell you any more about the story because I really wouldn't want to spoil it for you. The game is best played going into it blind, not knowing anything about it. But let me tell you, there's so many twists and turns, and eventually it'll make you question who you even really are or what you even really believe in. Here we are, we've reached it, the #1 spot, the top dog, the game of the year, and it's none other than the best game I've played in decades. Kingdom Come Deliverance. What Warhorse Studios have actually pulled off with this game is none other than a miracle. I've never had this feeling for a game since playing Morrowind back in the day, and honestly, up until now, I never thought I ever would again. You can sense and feel the love and vision that the developers had for this game from the outset. It's set in 15th century Bohemia, what we know now as the Czech Republic. It's an open world first person RPG, and you play as the character Henry, who is simply a blacksmith's son at the start of the game. No sooner have you crafted your first sword with the help of your father than your town is ransacked, ran through by a massive army. Everything Henry knows and loves is destroyed, and that's where the best game this year starts. What they've managed to do with the combat system is genre defining. No longer is combat just run up to somebody and keep pressing attack until they die. You can't do that in this game, you'll lose horrifically. You've got to observe where the opponent is blocking and attack on the opposite side. You've actually got to pay attention to what you're doing. That makes every battle intense and strategic. The way Henry levels up is the best way I prefer leveling up in these games to be done. The more you use something, the better at it that you get, just like in real life. And you actually feel that you're getting better at things. At the start of the game, Henry cannot hurt a fly, just like a peasant wouldn't be able to in the real world. But as you grow stronger and you can start getting better equipment and better items, you can start taking on or attempting to take on stronger opponents. And don't get me wrong, and make no mistake, every opponent in this game is dangerous, because one mistake and you're gonna get your head cut off. This makes planning your battles crucial, which is great. It's such a change from just running into battle and killing everything. No, if you see an enemy outpost with lots of guards, you might want to employ some tactics to separate them, because if you fight 5 men, 2 men, 3 men at once, you're probably going to die. You're probably going to get murdered. Now let's talk about the battles, the large scale battles that you will be taking part in this game. There's nothing better than standing beside your fellow men and running, charging into battle with them. It feels and sounds like a stampede. It's truly an epic feeling that I've never gotten anywhere else. As you can probably tell, I can't speak highly enough of this game, and anybody who hasn't played it, you're really doing yourself a disservice. You know what it is? I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It's the best game I've ever played. And with that marks the end of 2018 and all of my favourite games that came along with it. I hope you've enjoyed the video as much as I've enjoyed making it, and if you're interested in any of the games shown here in this list, I've got full playthroughs of each and every one of them on my channel. I'll leave the links in the description, and there's only one last thing to say. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. See you in a bit, lads.